Hello everyone. So um this is gonna be a bit of a weird video, but it's 'cause since we've just recently started recording the videos, we started in the middle of all our campaigns. So what I'm gonna do for each of them is I'm gonna make a little recap video, so you guys don't start off and it's like watching a show and you end up in the middle, like oh my god, it's annoying. So that's what I'm gonna do for you peeps. So anyway, this is for the Contest of Legends campaign thing that we've got going on. So let's get right into that. So basically, what happened first? Let's see. The first thing that happened, uh, I can't operate this machine at all. But anywho, so we're just gonna start her from right here. Perfect. So all our heroes, all our contestants got yoinked from their respected timelines. You'll meet all of them, but I'll go through a quick little uh what's the word? Roll call. This is Bartholomew. He is our he's played by Queso. Not the Queso. Daniel. He's played by our guy Daniel. This is Lawsome Funkenstein. Also Bartholomew's from the Robo-Apocalypse campaign and also the Devil Father campaign. So, anyway, Lawsome Funkenstein is also played by Daniel, and he is uh, from our good friend Depot's Waterly Traumatic D&D. Over here, this is Colt Winchester. He is my character. He's played by me. He's not really in a campaign yet. Stay tuned. But he's more of a one of the characters I've made, and I've kind of had him as a one-shot thing. So, um, over here, up next is Typh. He's also played by me. He's a fish guy. He's in the Waterly Traumatic D&D. Over here is another one of my guys, Gloop. He is played by me. Yeah, he's played by me, but he's in the Robo-Apocalypse campaign. Over here we have John Holo. He is played by Daniel. Um, and he is kind of a space one-shot character, so he's pretty interesting. Over here we have Otixa, which is just mosquito spelled backwards. He's played by me. Um, uh, he was in an old campaign that we're running. I don't know if our dear friend will ever start it up again, but he's from that. Over here we have literally the Grim Reaper, aka Grim, played by me. Pretty chill guy, pretty silly dude. But he's not really in a campaign. I mean, he is in all of them because he's freaking death. So, you know. Over here we have Professor Vix. He is played by our good buddy Ick. He's actually the one who did all this art. So shout out to him for doing that. Our boy Dudge the Doa, I believe is how it's pronounced. So shout out to him. He plays Vix. He also plays Drox. This is Drox, who is in the Devil Father campaign. He also plays this character here, Crick. And Crick is in the Waterly Traumatic D&D. Over here we have Connor. He is also played by Dudge the Doa, and he's more of a one-shot character, not really in any of the campaigns, but he's pretty cool. Up next we have Slugcat. He is portrayed by Jericho. He's not really in a campaign either, but he's kind of just chilling. This is a weird symbol because it's not the character, it's what they use. They use a mech. This is Professor Click's mech. And they are played by our good buddy Caleb. Over here we have Tycho, who is also played by Caleb, as well as the Gun Wizard and Blank. Blank is in the Waterly Traumatic D&D. Over here we have Kerbo, who is totally not a Kirby, is legally distinct from Kirby. That's played by our good friend Alexander. Over here we have Alexar, played by Alexander. They are in the Waterly Traumatic D&D. This is Sky, played by our good buddy Evan, this character is in the Devil Father campaign. This right here is Knight. They are also not they're also played by Evan, but they are in the Robo-Apocalypse campaign. This is Greybeard, played by Jericho. He's in the Devil Father campaign. This is Alice Bozo. She is played by Abby. And this character is in the Waterly Traumatic D&D. This is Sparky, who's also played by Abby. This is Melanie, an old character that's not really used anymore, but she does exist. Symphony, who's also played by Abby. She is in the Devil Father campaign. And then this is Maggie Winchester, who's Colt's brother. Fun fact. She's also played by Abby, and not really a character yet. Over here, we have Tech Jacket, legally distinct from Black Jacket. He's played by our good friend Jonathan. He's pretty cool. Over here we have Emmett, from the Lego Movie. You know what's up. He's played by Jonathan as well. Over here we have the Red Ranger. He's is also played by Jonathan. Next up we have Fiducia, who is played by our grandma, our lovely grandma. They are in the Devil Father campaign. This is Peace, or more accurately, P3-CE, the robot who is always high. They are played by Grandma. Up next, we have Kasha, the rabbit rogue. They are in the Robo-Apocalypse campaign. They're pretty cool. Captain Ishmael, who is played by Grandma, and they are in the Waterly Traumatic D&D. They are the captain of our ship. Up next, we have Leonard Casey, who is legally distinct from Leon Kennedy, but he is he's played by Daniel. He's not really in a campaign either, but he exists. Up next, we have Flyman, who is he's like a cryptid, you know. Think Mothman, but different. Yeah. Up next, we have Robert, Agent Robert J. Nelson. He is played by our good buddy Chase, Depot, if you will. Up next is Schmidt Nieser. He is in the Devil Father campaign. He's played by Depot as well. We have Reagan, who's played by Depot. Henry Nieser, who's Schmidt Nieser's great grandkid, I think. Yeah, they're in the future. We have Clara Bowton, who is played by Chase as well, and then we have Squire, who's also from the campaign. Odie is in that old one. But that's not everyone. We have John Helldivers, little logo. You know, 'cause come on, he's played by our good buddy Doge the Doa. We got Larry Boy, who's played by Jonathan. You know, gotta love Larry Boy. We got Jonathan Giles, who is our D&D's Spider-Man. It's very, very epic, very Sigma. Then we have W-4R, aka War, which they are a robot played by Jericho in the Waterly Traumatic D&D. We have Conquest. You know what's up. He's standing ready for his arrival. Yeah. Then we have Mechatron. Mechatron is played by Daniel. Yes, and he's a Decepticon, if you couldn't notice. And then we got Batman. Me being a big Batman fan, I wanted to make a good old Batman character. He's yes, but that is everyone who was plucked from their respective places, right? They were plucked into this universal is I should say not universal, space spectral coliseum, right? And what happened is that they were all they look up into the crowds, and all they see is a bunch of familiar faces, enemies, friends, people who have died, people that they don't even know yet are up in the stands. People from all across time and space have been gathered to watch this VIP booth, so to speak, and they can see this man who is the head of the Coliseum security detail. These are the average guards of the Coliseum. Very, very cool looking. We have, I believe her name was Cassandra. She is the, I want to say DJ, but that sounds too 2000s, whatever the formal version of DJ is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Up next, we have the announcer, because no good entertainment can be filled without an announcer, I believe, but he's there. And then we have the man who has put it all together himself, the Dungeon Master. The Dungeon Master. This is the man who's orchestrated this entire thing, who's gathered all these legends and heroes from across um, the universe, really, to compete in his contest of legends. And then we have his bodyguard right here. So they were all tasked with meeting. Also, yes, as soon as this guy was seen, where is he? As soon as that guy was seen, our boy Colt Winchester recognized him from a encounter he had about a while before that he had. So then the battles started to commence. The first fight, which commenced, was round one, fight one, Lossum Fungastein versus Typh. Now this fight went, how should I put it? Poorly. Pause the video and for yourself, you can try and guess who won. But basically, the chemistry between these two characters was very interesting because they're both from the Waterley Traumatic Campaign. They knew each other, and you won't know this. Someone, there'll be eventually the video will come out of the summary of the Waterley Traumatic D&D, but Lossum Fungastein had unfortunately died, and Typh was the last person to see him alive. So this fight it was very sad because Typh, what's the word? He didn't believe that it was his compatriot Fungastein, so he refused to fight them. He fought with valor, but eventually he gave in, being upset that this what he thought was an imposter fighting. But unfortunately, due to his emotional state, Fungastein was able to turn the tides, so to speak. He's a fish. Turn the tides and win that fight. Fungastein was the winner. Up next, I believe, we had Knight versus Larry Boy. So, again, pause the video just so you can guess who won. But from what I remember, this fight took place in a uh, in one of the, I don't remember, so Grandma, don't crucify me in the comment section, but it was in one of the little areas of Lobotomy Corp. So, how it went is this sludge was starting to pour in for both sides of the room, so the fight was very close together, and this sludge was essentially killing the players. But unfortunately, due to the events that had happened, Larry Boy did manage to come back on top with Knight. Knight, it was a very close fight, I will say, because Knight almost had it. Knight was very close to pulling the tides, but unfortunately they fell into the goop and perished. But this is what it looked like. It was very funny, as you can imagine. But yeah, see, look, Larry Boy. Oh, never mind. Yeah, Larry, Knight. They were both quite low, quite low. So after that, we had the fight of Kasha versus Sparky. Now you can again pause the video, say who you think won. Okay. But so how this fight ran out is it was in a very dark place, and if you didn't know this, Kasha is a rogue. So basically they were in their element, but they were going up against kind of a living light bulb, so it's kind of hard to counter that. But luckily, they shut off a bunch of lights in the complex, and They got a couple of quick jabs in. Sparky couldn't do anything. He was literally going up against a. He was trying to find a needle in a haystack, I guess you could say. But Sparky, unfortunately, after being boxed in by the little rabbit, the 3-foot rabbit person, they unfortunately gave in to their demise and essentially offed themselves. It was kind of funny because they did a backflip off a wall and broke their neck, which is very weird because they're made of lightning. So I don't know how that happened, but you know. So up next, I don't think it's said here, but I don't think it's said here. Yes, but it was versus Jonathan Giles and Connor, who is that character played by Dudge the Doa. Now this fight was, I think, the best one of this session, of the first session, because it's very fun to watch because how do I put this? It was very it is like Spider-Man. If you notice this thing about Spider-Man, he always, whenever he gets in a fight, he usually gets his shit handed to him. Pardon my French. Um, but he always gets back up, and that's what this fight had. I believe Jonathan had a very low HP. Yes, look at that. Look at that. Spider-Man had 6 HP by the time this was over. They started with 100, by the way. It's 6 HP when this entire thing was over. But he managed to come out on top, Spider-Manning it, which was awesome to watch. I'm sorry, people. I wish. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? But that fight, the winner who came out on top was Jonathan Giles. Let's see who's next. Right, this fight. Up next was Alice Bozo versus Schmidt Neezer. You can pause the fight to, see how this went. But how this fight kind of went, it was in a warehouse filled with boxes and whatnot, and both opponents used the.
I'm so sorry. It's escaping.
They used the environment to their advantage, which was very interesting because if they broke a box, they were able to gather equipment from the boxes. So, but Schmidt, being the ravaged, uh, rabid man he is, because he literally has rabies, he, with a flurry of attacks, he literally kicked her off a balcony. It was very awesome. But after a flurry of attacks, Bozo was pretty agile. They were pretty close fight. But in the end, Schmidt was able to get the killing blow. It was awesome. And then the last fight was Crick versus Graybeard. I'll let you put your. Well, I guess I just realized that this was down here. But Graybeard, after Crick did manage to take down Graybeard's pet seal Ribs, but unfortunately in the end, uh, Crick just couldn't do anything. He ran out of ammo, so Graybeard was see, look, 10 HP. He had 10 HP left, Graybeard, but unfortunately Crick just could not get that dub in time. So at the end of that fight, it was the end of the first session. So let me go all the way back up. Ow. 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 Fuck. Oh, P. Diddy. Oh, P. Diddy. Alright, but here we'll sit on him. But so that was the first session. Actually, editor cut out like me from the last fight to now. Okay. So that was the entire session. It was very fun to watch. Had a lot of fun. But that was only round 1. The people who moved on, the fights that would happen next, which the video will be soon posted, probably following this one, but or that one might be posted first and then this one, but it's weird. But from now on, the contest will be filmed and recorded in actual real time, so you won't have to get me just narrating over it like a $20 audiobook. So it should hopefully be very entertaining. I hope you all enjoy it. So, a little bit of if you're watching this in order, technically this would be the first episode. But up next, the next fights would be Leonard Casey versus the Gun Wizard, Reagan versus Click, Kerbo versus John Holo, Symphony versus Slugcat, Robert, I forgot his name, Robert versus Gloop, and then Captain Ishmael versus Colt Winchester. But until that video is released, I hope you all had a great day. I hope you had fun time watching this. I had a fun time speaking because I like to yap, if you couldn't notice. But yes, the next video should hopefully be posted soon. Maybe, I don't know. But and then after that, I believe after the second session is posted of this Contest of Legends, I believe the first session you'll see. It'll be a lovely surprise. Lovely. So, again, signing off here. Hope you had a lovely day, and can't wait to see you in the next one.